today's morning motivation. I wanted to talk to you about motivation. I wanted to see what exactly motivates you. I know what motivates me, and I'm realizing that the things that motivate me are changing now pretty regularly. And now I'm in a stage where I'm trying to figure out exactly like what I'm gonna do, because I notice there are things that I like and don't like. And one thing that I've noticed is that these things are starting to really affect me. Not in necessarily a bad way per se, more so just like, I gotta make some changes. I can't keep doing this. This is ridiculous, right? I'm recording while I'm downtown dropping off a hard drive for a client, and I've never been over here in this area, so I thought it'd be cool to go check it out.
Curved in this way.
I'm always putting more on the meter than I need to, because I never know like what's going to happen, when I'm down here. So, but I've never been here before, so this is pretty cool. I probably will turn the camera over a little bit so you can see it. Ooh, smokers, gross. So, motivation. I can tell you, oh, it's City Hall. How silly do I feel? I was all, oh my gosh, what's all of this? And it's something that is a, staple in our state, City Hall. That's hilarious. I'm gonna just kind of turn around, but because the entrance is really cool. It has the sun, which for most of you know, there's a lot of meaning with the sun, but I just want to take a minute to show you. This is what I was attracted to and had to come over here and see while I was recording this morning. So, anyway, as I was saying, motivation. So for me, it's always varied. When I was younger, my motivation was to just be me. And I tried to do everything that I could. There are a lot of freaking smokers. I feel like they should ban this shit. Anyway, I spent a lot of time trying to be the way that I, felt like I needed to be. And one of my motivations was to get to a point where I didn't have to be any other way but how I wanted to be, which I thought was dope. And very much easier said than done. Because as you continue to grow within a community, whether it's school, the community you live in, whatever, things change around you that you have to be aware of because they affect you. I, for a very long time, thought I had to be somebody else. Oh shit, now I think I'm lost, you guys. I thought that, if I didn't act a certain way or look a certain way, that I wasn't going to be cool, because that's what I was living. So my motivation every day was to be like some, to do something with the hopes that I could be closer to being me. And now this was a long time ago. I'm talking like junior high, a long time ago. But, that's where it started for me. That's where I became aware. And then as I grew older, it was like, finding more and more things that allowed me to be myself. That was my motivation. Then I got to a point where, okay, now I am myself, or as the closest self as I'm going to be at this particular moment. And it was like, what else? I've never been a real materialistic person. Although, yes, I do have a very extensive purse collection. We won't talk about the vault, but that's something that I do for myself, not that I expect others to do for me. So my purses became my motivation. You know, I would go to Fashion Square Mall or whatever mall I could get a ride to, and main thing I'm looking at is purses, because I love purses, and I do. I have hundreds, but that's neither here nor there. They were my motivation for a really long time. You know, if I wanted to get the new Gucci bag, I was going to go out and hustle, however that may have been at the time. But they were my motivation. I've never really been into, as fashionable as I try to claim to be sometimes, I've never really been into fashion per se. So as far as me, like, you know, spending a lot of money on clothes, not necessarily. Or shoes, even, for that matter. I have a few key pieces, but that apparel in that way was never my motivation. Then it was just back to being me and having the peace of mind of knowing that it was okay to be me. Because you know, as I grew older and I started, my scenery started to change, and I'm older now, and there are a lot of smokers. Ugh. Sorry if I've offended anyone. I just do not like smokers, or don't like smoking. I love smokers. You know what I mean. Anyway, so as I was getting older and things were changing, it became back to being more about me again. I, you know, was hanging out with people that were kind of out of my wheelhouse or something. I don't really know. They just weren't me. But I really wanted them to be. I wanted to fit in because, you know, let's face it, us nerds, especially black nerds, we are a rare breed. So it's hard to find others that are like us. So when we do, you know, we want to hold on to them. Or if we find somebody that accepts us for us, we want to hold on to them. And that became really difficult. So I started, you know, trying to figure out ways that I could be more like this new crowd, but still maintain my individuality. So again, my motivation became, let's stay grounded, let's stay me while still being cool to them. And I, you know, would do several different things. It's funny because, like, one of the things that I used to do was paint one of my fingernails a different color on each hand, usually my ring finger, and now that's super popular. But, you know, I know it's not your traditional method of motivation per se, but, you know, the fact that I could afford to do that was not only, you know, it was my motivation to get up and go to work, but then I could come home and still be me. And, you know, it became a situation where, you know, getting my nails done was, you know, was my motivating factor sometimes for going to these, you know, some of those dead-end jobs that I had to keep because I was still living with my parents. So I didn't, you know, I didn't have to worry about rent or anything like that. And what else do I have? You know, I mean, obviously my job you know, my phone motivated me to keep my job and hanging out and things like that. But, you know, I didn't really have much. So I wasn't so motivated when I was in my 20s. It wasn't until I had my son that I became really, truly motivated. And he was that motivator, because with my son, it was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I got to do it right. And that's what I figured. I felt like, you know, I can't have a child and bring him into this world if I'm not going to accept full responsibility for being a mother. So at that point, Ty was my motivation. So everything that I did was for the betterment of him. I was then looking at, you know, schooling and stuff like that. You know, I was looking at a career versus just a high-paying job, which, let's face it, in the 90s, a high-paying job, in early 2000s, a high-paying job consisted of working in a telemarketing agency. But, you know, I became more motivated to go to school, to go to class, and to get degrees and certifications and really build my brand. It wasn't even until I had him that I was like, okay, I have to have something, because even if I can get the best job out there, I'm still going to be in a position where I could get fired at any time. So my son became my motivator, and it was just really awesome, because then everything became effortlessly. It was, well, effortlessly. The thoughts, the ideas became effortless. Sorry, I'm not communicating that very well. Let me try this again. My thoughts and ideas came to me effortlessly. I wanted to do so much. I wanted to provide to him, provide for him. And I'll admit, in the beginning, I wanted to be better than his dad. So I was super motivated. I was working all of these crazy hours and crazy shifts. Every opportunity I got to work, I was working. And he was my motivation. And I thought, you know, I have to do this for him, because if I don't, nobody else is going to do it, obviously. And you know, that motivated me to want to go out and get my own place and get a car. I wasn't even driving before I had him. Like, that's how unmotivated and just super ambivalent I was about everything, quite honestly. And he changed all of that, and he continues to change that. He also motivates me to want to be a better mother and a better person, because I know that being a better mother starts with me being a better person. I have to start here before I can help and heal and be productive out there. And so he's my motivator in another way, because he's an ornery 16-year-old boy who thinks that he knows it all and doesn't need to go to school and won't need college or won't need an education. And while, listen, I'm not college educated. I don't have a degree. I have taken many classes and continue to take classes. I'm certified where I need to be. You know, I've done what I need to do for my particular career path. And I feel like as long as he does the same thing, he'll be all right. So I have in turn turned it into his motivator, because now he sees me taking classes. He sees me building a new brand with my wellness business, and he's like, okay, well, I see mom is really busting her ass. Like, he was asking me the other night, like, why are you studying so much? And I said, because I need this. Now I'm his motivator, and you are mine, because I sense the great need and the great void for just guidance. A lot of times people make crazy decisions and make crazy choices and are negatively motivated because of lack of guidance. They just don't know any better. They just can't think outside of the little box that they've put themselves in. So that was one of my motivators, if not my top motivator, for changing my career and pursuing life coaching, because now I really do feel that I can really do some good. Not that I couldn't before, but now I just feel like I'm confident in myself and I'm confident in my abilities, that there will be nothing but growth and productivity. There will be, starting with the person and then growing out into the family and into the workplace, an evolution of just healing and wellness, you know, whether it's me working with you as a whole or working with your company as a group. I said that totally backwards, but you know what I meant. I just feel like, you know, that's my motivation, you. So it's interesting how our motivators change, and our motivators make us really think in one way or the other. I just hope that we're thinking more on the positive motivators instead of the negative motivators. And when we aren't, that we seek help. Thanks for watching. Peace and love.